Welcome back to The Deep Dive. I'm Lex.
And I'm Vera. It's great to be here.
We're thrilled to have all the C9 followers from our podcast and business page tuning in for what I think is a really critical deep dive today.
Hello, everyone. And yes, we're talking specifically to you Australian business owners, C-level executives. We know your focus is squarely on ROI, on operational efficiency.
Yep.
So we're getting stuck into the source material that's really defining the future of application development.
Our mission today, it's pretty clear. We need to dissect the research, look at the next wave of mobile app development, and pull out the exact steps you need to take. Australian businesses need this to get that competitive edge. I mean, I know the executive pain points. We hear them all the time. Watching those old legacy systems just choke innovation.
Oh, yeah.
Dealing with fragmented development, doing the same work twice, and then seeing costs just inflate while timelines stretch out forever. It's maddening.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it boils down to one central question, looking at the data. How can you realistically slash your development time, we're talking up to 50%, and deploy these really sophisticated, high-performance apps across everything, iOS, Android, web, even desktop?
All with a single code base.
Exactly. All powered by one single maintainable code base.
Well, the consensus from all the sources we've looked at, it's pretty undeniable.
It is.
The answer really lies in embracing cross-platform mobile app development. Specifically, we're zoning in on the two giants set to dominate by 2026, Google's Flutter and Meta's React Native.
Okay.
Okay, so let's unpack this in segment one. Let's connect that current challenge, those pain points, to what cross-platform actually promises. For Australian businesses, the basic problem is sticking with the old way, right?
Yeah.
Platform-specific native development.
Right. Writing iOS code in Swift, Android code in Kotlin.
Yeah, financially, long-term, it's just becoming unsustainable for many.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And those pain points executives feel, they're direct results of doing things twice. Doubled QA effort, longer maintenance cycles every time you add a feature, resources just draining away in these parallel but totally separate development teams. And, when those growth targets start slipping, often it's the hidden cost of this inflexibility that's the real issue.
It's that lack of agility. And what's really striking here is just how fast the market shifted. There isn't some, experimental tech anymore.
Not at all.
Our sources confirm cross-platform frameworks were already powering nearly half of all mobile app projects globally way back in 2023. That's huge. It's basically the standard now for Fluent development.
And if you connect that maturity, that shift, back to the executive's bottom line, the efficiency gain is, well, it's profound.
How so?
The promise of one code base, it dramatically cuts future maintenance overheads. And maintenance, remember, can easily be 60% or even more of an app's total lifetime cost.
Wow.
So this means much faster market entry. It allows you to integrate user feedback way quicker. Agility, it doesn't just drive profits. It actually reduces the risk of just being left behind by competitors.
So we've basically established cross-platform is, well, it's almost mandatory now strategically.
Pretty much.
But the big question then becomes, which platform do you back? Which horse do you choose for your team?
And that brings us straight to the dominance metrics, doesn't it? Looking ahead to 2026, the projections we're seeing show Flutter and React Native together dominating over 50% of the market. They are the strategic choices you need to consider.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting strategically. Let's start with Flutter, Google's baby. It might have started a bit later than React Native, but its adoption rate, it's been incredibly aggressive.
It really has. Sources project its market share could climb as high as 60% of developers using it by 2026. That's a massive slice.
Just to give that some context, wasn't it Statista that showed 46% of developers globally were already on Flutter in 2023?
That's right, 46%. And at that time, it had actually statistically surpassed React Native's adoption rate, which is around 35%.
And that growth isn't just hype, right? It's driven by actual technical advantages.
Exactly. It's driven by the superior technical output, particularly around performance and UI.
Okay, but let's translate that. What does that actually mean for a business owner, for a CEO? When we talk about Flutter's big benefit, that superior performance and the much talked about pixel-perfect UI consistency, what's the real business impact? How does that mitigate financial risk?
That's the key question. For an executive, pixel-perfect consistency isn't just about looking good. It means eliminating the risk of weird visual bugs or branding inconsistencies cropping up across that huge, fragmented Android device market. Think of all the different screen sizes and manufacturers.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
It saves potentially hundreds of hours in QA testing. And it ensures your brand looks exactly the same on every single platform. That reduces user friction, builds brand trust. It's crucial for design-heavy customer-facing apps and also for enterprises building really scalable applications.
And the time saving.
Because you eliminate all that redundancy, the single code base genuinely slashes development time. The data points to a reliable 30% to 50% reduction. That's huge.
Huge. Okay, so that's Flutter. Now let's pivot to its main rival, React Native, which is backed by Meta, of course.
Right. React Native has this massive appeal, especially for organizations that already have big teams of JavaScript developers. It grew out of web development, essentially.
And it powers some pretty heavy hitters, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Instagram, Shopify, some major players. It still holds a strong position, powering around, 12.57% of the top 500 U.S. apps.
So what's its main advantage then, if Flutter leads on performance and UI consistency?
React Native really shines because of its absolutely vast ecosystem. The community-driven innovation is incredible. There's pretty much an existing plugin or library for almost any function you can think of.
Ah, so less building from scratch.
Exactly. That can drastically cut down development time for specific features because you're leveraging work others have already done and tested.
Okay, but that raises a critical strategic point. For years, the knock on React Native was always that slight performance lag compared to Flutter. Is that still a valid concern for an executive who's maybe making a multi-million-dollar platform decision?
That's an excellent point, and our sources address it directly. The short answer is that performance gap is closing fast.
Oh.
It's mainly due to big architectural changes they've made, like the new bridgeless architecture. It used to be that React Native needed this software bridge to translate JavaScript commands into the native code for iOS or Android.
Right, I remember that caused latency.
Exactly. It introduced that slight delay. Removing the bridge means much faster, smoother processing, quicker response times. It significantly boosts the user experience, making it much closer to native performance.
Okay, so for the listener, the C-level exec trying to make a call, what's the strategic takeaway here for 2026 and beyond? It doesn't sound like one is going to completely kill the other.
No, definitely not. We don't expect a single winner. It's more likely going to be a kind of functional split based on company needs.
Meaning?
React Native is probably going to keep its lead in companies that are already heavily invested in JavaScript talent, and those with really large centralized development teams, 20-plus developers, like you might find at a place like Shopify.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Flutter will keep gaining ground, particularly in those high-performance, pixel-perfect, design-critical scenarios. Think fintech apps, high-end consumer apps, anywhere that slick UI and millisecond performance really, really counts.
So bottom line, both are safe, strategic bets.
Absolutely. But the right choice really depends on your existing team structure, your specific application goals, and maybe your performance tolerance.
Got it. Okay, but before any executive listening gives the green light to a big cross-platform project, we absolutely have to issue a serious warning, and this links right back to those cost-cutting goals we talked about earlier.
Yes. This is crucial risk mitigation territory.
We need to talk about the growing threat of the AI Cowboys.
Exactly. We're talking about the lure of these cheap, flashy, low-cost AI app builders. You see them advertised everywhere, promising instant, fully featured apps.
Yeah, just type in a prompt.
Right. You plug in a few vague desires, a few vibes, as they say, and the software supposedly spits out ready-to-go code.
The industry even has a term for it now, doesn't it? Vibes coding.
Yes, vibes coding. And it's fundamentally a template-driven, really superficial approach. These tools generate code based purely on those vague inputs. They lack any real depth in architectural planning, security protocols, thinking about long-term scalability.
All the hard stuff, basically.
All the important stuff. And here's the core risk for executives. While that initial cost looks temptingly low, these tools almost always lead to accumulating crippling technical debt down the line.
Meaning?
Meaning you end up with brittle apps. Apps that break unexpectedly when real users start hitting them. Apps that expose potentially serious data vulnerabilities. Or, quite often, apps that just need a complete, very expensive rewrite a year or two later.
Which completely defeats the whole purpose of trying to save money and be efficient in the first place.
Exactly. It defeats the entire purpose of investing in new tech.
So if you're tempted by these quick fix generators, what are the specific concrete risks you're taking on as a business?
Okay, first big one, a crippling lack of full customization. They really struggle with complex business logic or integrating with your specific enterprise systems beyond very simple standard APIs.
Right. What else?
Second, you face platform dependency. Lock-in. You don't truly own the underlying code base in a way that gives you freedom. You're completely reliant on that specific AI tool's future roadmap, their pricing, their existence even. It kills flexibility.
Okay, lock-in. That's a big red flag for execs.
Huge.
Yeah.
And third, crucially, limited scalability. The app might work fine with 10 users, but it often falters or grinds to a halt just as your user base starts to grow. Just when you're hitting your growth targets, the tech fails you. Turns success into an operational nightmare.
And this usually stems from just poor code quality underneath, right? Non-optimized, hard to debug.
Absolutely. It inhibits future innovation because your own team can't easily build on top of it. And we've seen high-profile examples, haven't we? Like all the media scrutiny around Builder.ai a while back.
Ah, yes, the promises of AI generation versus the reality of human developers needed behind the scenes.
Exactly. The promises often obscured the significant and often expensive reliance on actual human developers to make things work or fix the AI's output. The executive focus has to be on sustainable cost reduction and quality, not just quick, volatile savings that bite you later.
Which brings us neatly to the next critical strategic decision. How do you choose the right development partner? One who understands these risks and knows how to actually mitigate them.
Yeah, and our sources are pretty clear here. The most successful projects today tend to rely on models that are highly flexible but absolutely focused on quality.
So at C9, for example, we tackle that common executive challenge, the high cost of local development, maybe a lack of specific internal expertise using a blended hybrid model, onshore and offshore teams working together.
And it's important to stress this isn't just about finding lower hourly rates. It's really about strategic efficiency. Well, you combine the essential Australian expertise for cultural alignment, understanding the local market, high-level project management with specialized global talent. This global talent brings specific skills, often at better rates, and crucially, provides time zone coverage.
Meaning the project keeps moving forward.
Often close to 2047 productivity. Your project progresses much faster, but without sacrificing the quality or the communication you get from having that local anchor.
But the value proposition has to go beyond just stacking bodies, right? You're not just hiring individual freelancers scattered around.
No, absolutely not. You're securing a comprehensive partnership. Successful enterprise app development, especially cross-platform, needs multiple dedicated roles working cohesively. Specialized developers, integration experts, database architects, QA engineers, the works.
And something the sources really hammer home, which I think is vital, is knowledge transfer.
Oh, critically important. It's perhaps the most critical risk mitigation tool when working with any external partner. A good vendor builds sustainability for you, the client, by actively empowering your internal team. They must provide built-in knowledge transfer sessions, thorough documentation. The goal is for you to gain long-term independence and genuine ownership of the codebase.
So you're not locked in again. It mitigates all those future risks. Vendor disappears, relationship sours, whatever. You're not left high and dry.
Exactly. It avoids repeating bad past experiences many businesses have had.
And what about flexibility for executives worried about long-term commitments?
Well, the best partners offer structural flexibility. Sure, quick monthly contracts might sometimes be available for very short, defined needs, but the data really confirms that for complex cross-platform projects, having minimum lock-in periods, say 3 to 6 months for a dedicated team, provides the necessary stability.
Stability for what?
Stability for consistent progress, for deep integration to happen properly, and frankly, to unlock the bulk discounts that significantly bring down the total cost of ownership over that period.
Right. And you get access to that global talent pool without carrying Australian payroll burdens directly.
Precisely. And the Goods partners, they structure their rates based on the specific skill sets needed. Senior Flutter dev, mid-level integrator, junior QA, not just one single, inflated hourly rate for everyone. This gives you financial flexibility to scale the right resources at the right time. That's the truly strategic approach to getting efficient, large-scale, cross-platform development done right.
Okay, now we need to move to segment 5. And if the #1 goal for an executive is cutting costs and reducing risk, then skipping the discovery phase, honestly, it's probably the single worst strategic decision you would possibly make.
Could not agree more. It is absolutely non-negotiable.
Why so adamant?
Because the sources are just emphatic on this. Skipping discovery leaves your project wide open to massive misalignment between what the business wants and what IT builds. It invites scope creep like nothing else, and it leads to resources being wasted building features the business doesn't actually need right now.
So that initial 30 to 60 minutes, that's crude.
It's arguably the most valuable hour or half hour of the entire project lifecycle.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's a collaborative session.
So let's break it down for the analytical listener. What actually happens in that discovery call? What's the process?
Okay, it's where we, or any good partner, really drills down. What are the real business pain points? Is it a specific outdated system slowing you down? Is it high operational costs in one area? We define precise, measurable goals. What does success look like? And importantly, we identify the likely technical and commercial barriers up front.
And the outcome isn't just notes.
Oh no. The outcome is a clear, usually phased roadmap. It turns that initial uncertainty, that vagueness, into a financially sound execution plan. It identifies risks before a single line of code is written. It gets everyone aligned on the key deliverables for each phase.
Can you give an example?
Sure, we've seen countless examples where a proper discovery session helps define and launch a minimum viable product in MVP in just a matter of weeks.
Right, get something out there quickly.
Exactly. That rapid deployment generates early ROI. It lets the business validate its core assumptions with real users, pivot quickly as needed based on feedback, and it saves potentially vast amounts of time and money later by preventing painful rework on features nobody wanted.
Okay, this ties directly into budgeting, which is obviously crucial for our C-level audience. You often see these indicative pricing proposals, right?
Yes, those vague estimates. We think this might take, 2 to 3 weeks, maybe $10,000.
Yeah, based on what? Assumptions.
Pure assumptions. And they are almost guaranteed to lead to budget overruns down the track. Creates friction between the business and the developers. It's just bad practice.
So the alternative is discovery-based pricing.
Absolutely. We strongly advocate for it because it provides the level of financial precision that executives need and deserve. The discovery process lets you drill down the scope accurately, often to a nearest hour for each task.
So using that Flutter app example again?
Right. An indicative quote might give you a huge unhelpful range, say 200 to 300 hours. After a proper discovery, we can pinpoint it. Okay, based on these defined features and integrations, it's exactly 250 hours.
And you can break that down further.
Yes. Crucially, you break it down into clearly defined, measurable stages. So you can say, stage 1, the MVP with these core features, is precisely 100 hours, and the fixed cost for that is $15,000.
Okay. That level of granular detail gives the analytical executive clear milestones for ROI.
Exactly. You know exactly what you're getting, by when, and for what cost. This stage-based approach means no nasty pricing surprises, it guarantees measurable value is delivered incrementally, and it just aligns perfectly with that executive mindset focused on efficiency, transparency, and predictable results.
Makes sense.
So, to wrap up this deep dive then, the future of mobile application development, it is definitively cross-platform. Strategically, it's going to be dominated by Flutter and React Native.
And for Australian businesses.
Achieving that competitive advantage, getting that operational efficiency, it really requires selecting these innovative, reliable solutions and, just as importantly, choosing a strategic partner who's genuinely committed to sustainability, quality, and transparency through processes like discovery.
Okay, I want to leave our listeners with a final, maybe provocative thought, something that builds on what we found about discovery-based pricing and staging.
Go for it.
Instead of thinking you have to budget for the entire full-featured application build right up front, what if you considered leveraging that detailed discovery-based staging, launching that rapid MVP, and then using the immediate savings and the early ROI generated by stage 1 to actually fund stage 2 and stage 3 and all those more advanced features down the line?
I see where you're going.
You're essentially designing a self-sustaining growth model for your application, where the app itself, through its early success, effectively pays for its own evolution and expansion. Think about that.
That's a powerful concept. So, are you ready to stop just watching the competition race ahead? Ready to start streamlining your own operations today?
Then it's time to schedule that discovery call. Talk to the experts. We are C9 Australia's leading custom software, apps, integration, and database developer company.
You can find us and book your session really easily online at www.c9.com.au. That's c9.ei.com/.au.
And please don't forget to click that follow button wherever you're listening.
And share this deep dive with colleagues, other executives, anyone you think could benefit from this critical knowledge on leveraging cross-platform development for real strategic growth.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the next deep dive.